Robin.
Joe Rogan in studio. What's
Hello.
up, Joe?
What's up, brother?
And Ari, of course. You guys are playing what, Caroline's tonight?
Yeah, we're doing a midnight show, or I think it's actually 12:30 at Caroline's. We're crazy. We go on late. We don't even care.
We don't care.
We don't even care. We go on sleepy.
Sleepy, yo.
Fly in just now?
No, we got in yesterday.
Yeah? Do anything fun? Why do you
Play
look
pool.
like... Is your hair really low or something?
Maybe I shrunk. I'm getting old.
There you go. There we go. It's kind of creepy, man. He's like, he could kill somebody with his pinky, but he's sitting way down low. I'm looking way down at him.
He's humble.
Hi. All right.
He's a humble fellow.
You do anything fun last night?
Played pool. Nothing.
That's it.
Nothing interesting.
It's kind of boring. You didn't lick toads or anything?
No. Oh, yeah, you were talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
It's 5-methoxydimethyltryptamine. That's what it is.
See, I told you.
There's different stuff that comes from frogs, and there's this one, a frog that produces 5-methoxy-DMT, and then there's a toad that produces actually NN-DMT, which is the real deal. But it's, you got the way to get it is to get it from a lab, because you want to make sure that they synthesize it correctly.
I told you.
Of course he does.
Well, what DMT is, it's a human neurotransmitter. It's the most powerful psychedelic known to man. Your own brain produces it. It's actually responsible for dreaming. When you're in heavy REM sleep, and right at times of extreme stress when your body thinks it's going to die, that's when your brain pumps out the most DMT. And it's responsible for near-death experiences, UFO abductions, all that stuff. And I've done it about 7 times. It's pretty intense. I mean,
that makes sense. Near death, right, man?
Well, near-death experiences, and it's responsible for UFO abduction experiences, because the idea is that an endogenous dump of DMT is that it's stored in the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is literally your third eye. It's exactly where the third eye is in Eastern mysticism, like right between the 2 eyebrows, and it actually has a retina and a cornea and a lens in reptiles, and it produces DMT. And DMT, even though it's the most powerful psychedelic drug known to man, it's in every single ecosystem all over the world. It exists in plants and grasses, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's really the craziest drug to be illegal everywhere, because everyone's got it in their system. It's like everyone's holding. That was like Terrence McKenna's line. Yeah. And it's pretty intense stuff, man. If you do it, you will talk to intelligent beings from other dimensions. For real. I mean, it sounds crazy. You would think that if there's something like that it would be on the front page. You look at Barry Bonds on the front page of the Post. Oh, he lied!
Yeah.
Like, what did you think? You don't get to be 45 looking like that. Everybody's
really
going crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. That guy's cheating. And whatever he's taking, give me it. All right? That guy's 45. He looks like he's 20. Give it to me. I'm going to shoot it right in my penis with a turkey baster. All right?
Yeah, but his head's a little too
looks
big.
great. Whatever. I'm a bigger head. You get a bigger hat. You got some money.
Just get a bigger hat? No,
I'll take it.
Well, I saw the story, and I'm like, I know Joe knows all about this. So let me just play it out here. Here it is.
I told you earlier about a man accused of licking a toad to get high.
Well, he's an idiot.
We did some more digging and found out that one of the only places you can get these toads is in Lawrence.
Well, the toad's venom can get you high. It is also very dangerous, but others insist the toads are just good pets.
They live for 15 years, so you can also build a really good relationship with them. They're a long-living pet.
They are called the Colorado River toad, and Persephone's in Lawrence is one of the few places which sells them in the country. Clay County Prosecutor Dan White says there's a reason you don't see these guys all over.
It could certainly make you sick. It could kill children or possibly animals in your house. So it's not something you really want to be around.
So
first of all, you don't lick it. He's an idiot. They don't know what they're talking about. You take the toad and you put it like either on glass or on anything like a windshield or a mirror, and what you do is you massage the toad and you get them to excrete whatever they have in their skin, and that stuff comes onto the glass, and then you scrape it up. And then you smoke it. You don't lick the toad.
Wait a minute. Oh my God.
Because this is why. It's because it's not orally active. See, DMT is not. There's a chemical in your gut called monoamine oxidase, and you need an MAO inhibitor if you take it orally. Like in the Amazon jungle, they figured out how to do this with like 450,000 different species of plants in the Amazon. They figured out how to take the root of one, which contains DMT, and the vine from another, which is an MAO inhibitor. It's called harmine. And they mixed the two of them together. These Indians figured out how to do this and literally go the other dimension Indians in the jungle. That's why those dudes don't want to live. They don't invent the wheel. They're not working on nothing from Amazon.
They don't care.
They don't care at all. They're just going on DMT trips every day.
Where is if you have a toad and you want to get the stuff off it? Like, how do you?
That's a good question. I don't know.
His feet or stomach are on the glass. Is it on his back? Does it come off of?
I don't know what part of it. It comes off of his skin, and you have to
kind of
massage him.
probably dab him on the glass.
But it's not dangerous.
Dab 'em.
It's a human neurotransmitter. It's actually one of the most transient drugs ever exhibited in the body because your body brings it down to baseline really quickly. Your body brings it down to baseline in like 10 to 15 minutes. It's really crazy.
What's that mean, down to baseline?
It means, like, say if you have it, you're high, you go to that dimension, whoa, it blows out, and then whoosh, 15 minutes later, you're back normal. And the crazy thing is, it's just like dreams. You know, you wake up and you're like, I had the craziest dream. It was me and my buddy Mike, and we were kids, but we had a sled, and my mom was there. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, what the hell was my dream?
Yeah.
That's exactly what a DMT trip is like. It's like gold dust slipping through your fingers. It's very, very intense.
Here's the last part of the story.
But now some people are accused of actually ingesting the toad's venom on purpose. It acts as an hallucinogenic drug.
We don't discuss that in here. That's not what we sell them for. We sell them purely for the pet reason.
But lately, the toad's popularity has picked up. The store is now selling 2 or 3 a week, many online, but some to students right here in Lawrence. So is toad licking, as it's called, become popular among students? It certainly doesn't seem so.
To lick a toad to get high? I don't know. I think it's a little absurd. Sounds dangerous.
It doesn't work that way.
I've never heard anybody talking about that at all.
It surprises me. Like, why? I don't know why. They could probably get a better drug for the same amount of money.
The crazy thing, you can't get a better drug. It's the greatest thing ever. But it's first of all, it's not orally active. You can't just do that. The only way it's going to be orally active is if you take something with it. And if you take like a pharmaceutical MAO inhibitor, you're dead. You don't even know how that's going to work. That's very, very, very dangerous.
That sounds
because that could you make you open to all sorts of other stuff that you take. You don't realize.
He's very knowledgeable.
I'm a psychedelic adventurer.
I'm amazed by his knowledge when it comes to this stuff. What was the last drug you did?
I did a weed breath trip about 10 minutes ago.
Weed breath
While we were waiting.
Yeah, you want to see him? Yeah, I have these.
He was talking about
strips.
weed lollipops.
Yeah, I took it to a new level. These are breath strips. Check these out. One of those things will put you on Pluto for 5 hours. It's pure THC, broken down and made into breast strips.
Look, here, press that there.
Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Joe's carrying illegal drugs.
Those are illegal, by the way.
Oh, those are legal.
In
Med
California.
strips.
What the hell?
Do they have a smell to them?
Come on.
What does it smell like?
Everybody take with me and let's get this party
Smells a little
started.
minty.
It'll kick in by the time we go over to the XM show. It'll be crazy.
Oh, this would be... Wow, yeah, it's got some kind of a...
It's very difficult to tell what it is. You're just smelling the breast strip. It's pure THC. It doesn't smell like anything like the plant.
Dude.
How long does it take?
It takes about a half hour, 45 minutes.
How effed up do you get?
Oh, if you're not used to it, if you don't have a THC tolerance, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're babbling. You're in the corner in a fetal position crying about your mommy.
I like it doesn't even say may. It says keep out of reach of children, will cause dizziness, will impair driving, and the ability to operate machinery. Everything else is may impair.
It's very, very powerful.
Wow. How much are they?
Very cheap. It's like $10 for 2 of them.
He's always got something new. I love it.
Something new, man.
The lollipops.
The lollipops
You're
are
done
great
with the
too.
lollipops,
No, I
right?
love those. I got soda. I got pot soda. I got everything.
The pot soda's terrible.
It's great. I love it.
It's the worst tasting of all time.
Crazy. I think it's delicious nectar.
For someone who does his share of drugs, you seem very with it. Very. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
coherent.
I don't do drugs to escape. I don't do drugs to get messed up. Like, I don't do drugs because I hate life. I do drugs because I find the state that psychedelic drugs put you in very fascinating and very introspective, and you can learn a lot about yourself, and you can learn about a lot about life because it removes you and your ego from the equation. You get to look at things from like a newborn's perspective. That's why I do it. I don't do anything I don't do coke or meth or anything dangerous, anything that's addictive. I have never done coke. I've never done speed. I've never done heroin. heroin. I won't do anything that can hurt you. But psychedelic drugs, they're very different. With this big blanket that we put on everything, we call everything drugs. That's a broad term that encompasses everything from like NyQuil to DMT. You know, I mean, they're all drugs. I mean, they all affect your consciousness. It's like, how do they affect your consciousness, though? I'm not interested in anything that messes me up. I'm not interested in anything that gives me brain damage or anything that makes me, addicted to it. I'm only interested in things that can alter my state of consciousness for the better.
So
That's why.
When you take this stuff, do you sit in a room at your house?
Most of the time, when I write, whenever I write, I always get high before I write.
Well, that's
and when
obvious.
I go in my isolation tank.
All you have to do is see Joe Rogan do a stand-up, and you're like, wow, he goes to a different place to write this stuff. And I told you many times, I love your stand-up, because it's very different than most of the guys out there. And you'll see for yourself at Caroline's. Look at that, right into a plug. But go ahead.
Wow. So how long are you in an isolation tank for when you take
a couple hours. And for people who don't know what the isolation tank is, if you ever saw that movie Altered States, it's a sensory deprivation tank, and I have one in my basement. And what it is, it's filled with water that's like 11 inches tall, and it's got 800 pounds of salt in it. And it's heated of doing stuff, and you don't want to put anything in your body. You don't want to abuse anything. You don't have to. I mean, you can achieve an altered state of consciousness completely naturally that's not addictive, it's not dangerous. And this isolation tank, they have a bunch of them. There's tank centers. There's in New York, they have them. There's a place, if you Google where to float, there's a website that'll tell you where these places to go to. And this tank...
Why the salt water?
Because it makes you buoyant.
It makes you float.
Incredibly buoyant. 800 pounds of salt and 11 inches of water. I mean, it's incredible density. And you lie in it, and because it's 93.5 degrees, you can't feel the water. You don't know what's the water, what's the air. And once you relax, you get comfortable in the position, you literally feel like you're flying through space. It's total sensory deprivation. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything because you're enclosed in this capsule. With the total pitch black. You don't feel anything because the water is the same temperature as the surface of your skin. There's no sensory input. And the absence of sensory input, your brain becomes like supercharged. It's insane. It's incredible. It's literally like the first 20 minutes is like going on a seminar on your life. It's like it starts showing you all these things that are bothering you in your subconscious, and you have a chance to like think about them and rationalize them and trying to figure out where to put them in. And then once you get more comfortable with the experience, then you kind of cease to be you. Then you sort of become like one with everything, and it gets very trippy. And that's when the hallucinations come and the visions. And
how long are you staying there?
I go in for hours. I go in usually about 3 times a week is what I like to do, and I go in for about 2 hours.
All right, I'm a beginner, and I'm going to do this next week. How long should I go for?
An hour. An hour's fine.
My
and
buddy,
it's very relaxing too. You get out, you feel great. You feel refreshed. There's no come down time. And if you ever feel freaked out, like, oh, this is creeping me out, you pop open the top and you're done.
Well, I'm sorry, just one question. What if you itch?
Well, that's the thing. You're gonna get a little weirded out when you first get into it because there's a reaction that your body has when you're not moving at all, because you lie in this thing and you stop moving, and your brain just gives you busy work. Like, yeah, your nose is itching you, dude. Come on, yeah, scratch it. But your nose isn't itching you. Your nervous system is just freaking out that you're not moving.
You're not doing anything.
So you have to do it like 3 or 4 times to get really comfortable with the experience.
My good friend Brother Weiss from Rochester, he was huge into floating. I don't know if he's still doing it.
Amazing that people don't know about.
He would talk about it on his radio show all the time.
He has a tank?
Really odd.
Weiss has a tank?
No, I think there was a center up there. It's been a while that I've talked to him about it, so I'm not really sure where he's at.
It's so good for everyone. It's so relaxing. It gives you an introspective and objective point of view on your life that you can't get anywhere else. It's an environment that doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet.
Amazing. You should sell these things. You're a great salesman for these things.
Yeah. I've gone.
Now I want to go to one.
I want a tank for Christmas.
Well, Joe and I were corresponding there for a while, and he was giving me info on these tanks. I was going to get one of these.
You should do it.
I got a new place with a room. I don't know what to do.
You got a room. You don't know what to do with? That's it, dude. Fill it up, man. Can it support all that weight with all that water? If it can support a waterbed, it can support an isolation.
Yeah, I'll have to ask my building.
Oh, dude, yeah,
because I've been thinking of kind of turning it into some kind of like, you're gonna laugh, like a meditation / reading /
that is what it is. I have mine. I have a couch set up and I put a laptop in there in case I have crazy ideas. I come out and I write them like right away. You got to wash off though because you're covered in salt. Like you have white all over your body.
Do you feel bloated when you're done? Like you've had too much sushi.
But wait, a laptop. That's pretty cool, man. I like that.
Yeah, I have a room downstairs that's set up. It's just this room that I trip out in.
How long after you get in the tank do you start tripping out?
For me, 15, 20 minutes because I'm so used to it. I've done it so many times that my body just knows, here we go. And I just plug in.
So, how do you know when it's time to like leave the tank?
Sometimes I just stay in there for a long time. Sometimes John Lilly John Lilly's the guy who created the tank. He's also a pioneer of interspecies communication. He used to take acid and trip and talk to dolphins and literally figured out like a gang of things about dolphin communication and language from tripping acid and communicating with dolphins in an isolation tank. He put an isolation tank right next to this aquarium where these dolphins were living, and he would communicate with the dolphins while he was in the tank. But he figured out a system so he could defecate and urinate while he was inside this tank, so he could stay in there for 10, 15 hours at a time.
Wow, that's kind of oof.
Yeah, that's a little.
How would he take care of it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a filtration system somehow.
Doesn't your skin get waterlogged though?
2 men in a tank.
But it doesn't really hurt you.
But there's another question. Yeah, but all right.
Damaging.
But so you go into your tank and you're very relaxed. Do you have like a system where like some kind of alarm that goes off knowing that you've been in there an hour or two?
Well, if I do it, sometimes I know. Like say if I have a set at like 9:30 at the Improv or something like that, and I know I get in at like 6. I gotta get in by 6. If I get in at 6:30, it could get wacky. I might be in there for like 3 hours, and I might be late for my set.
You really stay that long, man? Wow.
Yeah, I like 2 hours. I like to go in there right before jiu-jitsu. I go in there and think about. I can go and do jiu-jitsu in my head when I'm in the tank. It's an unbelievable experience.
You ever go in there on drugs?
Yeah, mostly pot. But mushrooms too. Yeah.
Oof. You ever went totally sober though?
Oh yeah. Totally sober's fine. Totally sober is a psychedelic experience in itself. I mean, you don't need to do anything.
I'm gonna float next week.
It's amazing, man.
They have places in Manhattan?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
A lot of them are like spas and stuff. They'll have them, but it takes a few times to really get relaxed. And a lot of people that are using them in these spas, they don't really know what it does. They think, oh, it's relaxation. It's wonderful, and it is relaxing, but it's also a very intense experience because in the absence of sensory input, you'd be amazed at how powerful your brain is. It's like, say if we're having this conversation, say if you're talking to somebody, you got a really important thing you're talking to them about, but there's this guy next to you and he's screaming and yelling. Like we were at dinner last night. Remember those people at dinner last night, Ari?
Yeah,
where the guy was trying to talk to us. The waiter was trying to talk to us, and there's this guy. I played soccer when I was 18. He still thinks he's 18. And they were so loud. She was disgusting, and they were drunk, and it was really loud. And it was so hard to hear the guy talking. I couldn't listen to the waiter because I was so distracted.
Yeah.
Well, you're constantly computing like distance and social cues and space, and you're constantly thinking about where you are. And in the absence of all that, your brain becomes a very different thing than it is when you're moving around in regular life. Right. It's not normal to like separate your brain from sensory input. When you do, you go into these insane visions. And a lot of people believe it brings you closer to source. It brings you closer to what human beings really are. In absence of your body, in absence of culture and tradition, all the things you've learned, what you are is like a soul or an energy or a thing, and it tunes you into whatever that is.
That feels like Kane from Kung Fu.
No kidding.
Just wanders the earth.
But he does study this stuff.
Kick ass.
Well, it's
and then he just he's very philosophical.
This wasn't a quick Google on his part. He's been studying this for a long time.
Well, I've been doing.
He's gone deep into this stuff.
Gets out of the tank and just can drive a salty foot right into someone's mouth.
Yeah. I've been doing this for about 9 years now.
Imagine if he wasn't doing all this stuff to relax his soul.
No.
You would be just killing people all day long.
Well, I have very bad genetics. You know, if I wasn't doing martial arts and stuff, I think a lot of people that are in prison, a lot of people that are in bad places in life, they have bad genetics. You know, a bad environment and bad genetics makes a violent person. But all that's just energy. You know, if you figure out a way to channel it.
Now we got a ton of people that are just asking more about this floating. Where do they float?
Go to Google where to float and put it in Google, and there's a website that will show you all over the world, different websites or different places where you can go. All right. Different cities, there's a lot of, and you might have to drive a couple hours. Trust me, it's worth it.
And everybody listening in New York, stay away from all the places where you can float in New York, because I want to do it next week.
I'm sure you could probably get in. That's the amazing thing, is it's not hard to, it's not like, everyone, it's like there's yoga classes and Pilates classes, and they're packed up, and you gotta, book in advance, but nobody knows about this.
You like the yoga?
Insane. Yeah, I love yoga.
Yeah, I'm starting to get into
amazing.
That. A little bit.
It's hard to do, man. It sounds so faggy, like, I'm taking a yoga class. Why don't you just go blow a guy? Can I say that? No. Cut that out.
Number 2.
I've worked out my whole life, like yourself, I always try to stay in shape with all sorts of different like classes and weights and stuff. And I started doing yoga a little bit, not a lot yet. And it's brutal how hard it is. If you're doing it right, especially.
Yeah, and you see some little 90-pound Chinese chick, and she's doing it.
She's just rocking,
pouring sweat. Like, what the hell?
Just by getting in a position and holding it, you're sweating like you've never sweated before. What about the fart stuff?
Oh yeah, that comes out.
The whole room is just nothing but a symphony of fart. I don't know why, but yeah.
Especially if you don't eat right, if you're not eating healthy. Yeah.
Do you find that you break more when doing Warrior1? A lot of times I find that when I'm doing Downward Dog, I don't fart as much. But Warrior1,
yeah, well. All right, we got to take a quick break. We got Ari, of course, and Joe Rogan here.
Tonight at Caroline's at 12:30. Really, really great
12:30
show.
12:30 or
12:30.
Okay, 12:30.
Yeah.
Good.
Show up at 12 and just cause noise.
Joe's stand-up is very funny and very, very interesting. I'll say that every time you're in.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
First time I saw him at the Comedy Store in L.A., I was blown away. I had no idea because I just knew you at the time from
I'm a whore. I've
being
done
the guy
too many things
TV.
for money. I've confused a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know I'm a comedian. I'd say like 80% of the people know who I am. I go, what? You do comedy?
It's very interesting and clever comedy, I love that about you. All right, more with Joe Rogan next. It's Opie and Anthony.